Hello friends, welcome to this session. In this session, we are going to cover classification of adrenergic drugs, structural activity relationships, different structures of the adrenergic agents, and uses of the adrenergic systems. The adrenergic drugs are classified in different manner according to the mode of action. These are classified as a direct acting, indirect acting, and by the both mechanism. The direct acting agents are adrenaline, noradrenaline, dopamine, isoprenaline, while indirect acting amphetamine and methamphetamine. The drugs, that is ephedrine and metforminol, act by the both mechanism directly as well as indirectly. The next classification of the adrenergic agents according to their receptor selectivity. The alpha-1 agonist, these are selective toward the alpha-1 receptor, example is methoxamine, phenylephrine. While alpha-2 agonist, example is clonidine, alpha-methyl, noradrenaline. Both alpha-1 and alpha-2 agonist, that is adrenaline and noradrenaline. The beta-1 agonist, phenylalterone and dobutamine, while the beta-2 agonist, salbutamol and terbutaline. Both beta-1 and beta-2 agonists are adrenaline and isoprotonol. There are both alpha-beta agonists, that is adrenaline and ephedrine. Next classification is according to the chemical nature, that is catecholamines and non-catecholamines. The catecholamines examples are adrenaline, noradrenaline, dopamine, isoprenaline, while the non-catecholamines are ephedrine, amphetamine, and metforminol. The last classification of these adrenergic agents or sympathogenic agents according to their therapeutic effects. The first class subclass that is vasoconstrictor, example is adrenaline, noradrenaline, ephedrine, metforminol. The second class is vasodilator, that is dopamine and isoprenaline. The bronchodilator example is salbutamol and terbutaline. While the fourth class is CNS stimulant, amphetamine and methamphetamine. The next class is the cardiac stimulant, adrenaline, isoprenaline, prenatrol. The nasal decongestant, ephedrine and oxymetazoline. While the last subclass of the therapeutic effect, that is uterine relaxant, that is niloridine and salbutamol. So this is about the classification of the adrenergic agents. Let's see the chemical classification of the adrenergic drugs. These are classified as the catechol and non-catecholamines. The catecholamines are the natural adrenaline, noradrenaline, and dopamine, while synthetic isoprenaline and dobutamine. The non-catecholamine, ephedrine, amphetamine, phenylephrine, methoxamine, all these are known as sympathogenic amines, as most of them contain an intact or partial substituted amino group in the structures. This is structural examples of the structures of the different catecholamines and non-catecholamines. How the catecholamines are evaluated. The evaluation of these catecholamines studied with the phenylethylamine as a class of drug as an agonist. The catecholamines, the backbone shows the phenylethanolamine as a basic backbone for these catecholamines. The sympathogenic drugs are considered as the derivatives of the beta-phenylethylamines as a parent compounds, and structurally is possible on by the different substitution on the aromatic ring, substitution on the beta carbon, substitution on alpha carbon, and substitution on the amino groups. Let's study the structural activity relationship. The basic requirement for the highest agonist activity of the phenylethanolamine analogs. The primary or secondary amino group is essential for the activity, while the amino group separated by the two carbons from the substituted phenyl ring, that is the 2-carbon alkyl side chain, is essential for the good activity. The hydroxyl group on the beta carbon of the side chain is essential for the activity, and the carbon one must be a R absolute configuration of the alkyl side chain. Let's see the different modifications. The R1 substitution, that is the substitution on the amino nitrogens. If the substitution on the amino nitrogen is hydrogen, that is norepinephrine, it shows affinity toward both alpha and beta receptors. While if we substitute with the methyl group, it will lead to the formation of the synthesis of the adrenaline or epinephrine, which is having more selectivity towards beta receptor as compared to the alpha receptors. If we substitute this amino group by the isopropyl group, it will lead to the isoprotanol, which is having uh, more beta non-selectivity and completely absence of the alpha selectivity. While the cholesterol, which is a tertiary butyl substitutions on the amino group, which is completely beta 2 selective activity. Thus, the increase in the size of the R1 results in the beta selectivity as compared to the alpha activity. Beta receptors has large lipophilic binding pockets. The tertiary butyl group gives selectivity towards beta receptors. That is, it is completely selective towards the beta 2 receptors. The next modification is the artet substitution on the carbon 2, that is the alpha carbon. If the alpha carbon is substituted by the methyl group, that will give the alpha methyl norepinephrine that will shows affinity towards both the alpha and beta receptor. Basically, in the alpha, it is more selective toward the alpha 2 receptors. While if we substitute this methyl group by the ethyl group, that will give the ethyl norepinephrine, which is having more selectivity toward the beta receptor as compared to the alpha receptor. Thus, the small alkyl groups on the carbon 2 shows metabolism by the MAO. Thus, the ethyl substitution gives the beta receptor selectivity. Here, the stereoisomers, probably 1R and 2S stereoisomer, shows the maximal activity. The next modification is, that is, R3 substitution on the aromatic ring. If we substitute the aromatic ring at the 3,4 by the hydroxyl group, that is the catechol group, and the R1 is a tertiary butyl group, that will give a cholesterol, which is having beta 2 selectivity. If we modify the substitution at the aromatic ring, that is the position of the hydroxyl group from the 4th to the 5th, that is the 3,5 dihydroxyl group. In case of example metaprotanol, it will show the beta 2 selectivity. While terbutaline, it is also shows the beta 2 selectivity when the substitution is at the 3 and 5th position. That is both the meta position of the catechol nucleus. If we remove the substitution from the 4th position, that is only 3 hydroxy group is present on the aromatic ring, then that time the compound shows a completely alpha selectivity. That is only alpha activity is produced. The 3,4-dihydroxy gives excellent activity at the alpha and beta sites, but the poor oral activity as rapidly metabolized by the SCOMT, that is catechol-O-methyl-transferase enzyme. The 3,5-dihydroxy gives beta 2 selectivity and oral activity. 4-hydroxy is essential for the beta activity, otherwise it will show the alpha activity, like in case of nilepine. Thus, this is the overall structural activity relationships of these phenylethanol amine analogs. That is R1 substitutions on the alpha carbon shows methyl substitution decreases the MAO degradations. Ethyl substitution decreases the alpha activity as compared to the beta activity, increases the oral activity. While if I substitute the amino groups by the alkyl side chain, increase in the alkyl side chain, that will show the increase in the beta activity and decrease in the alpha activity. While the modification at the aromatic ring, that is this hydroxylation of the aromatic ring at the 3 and 5 position OH or 3 position hydroxymethyl and 4 position hydroxyl, that increases the beta 2 activity and decreases the degradation by the catechol-methyl transferase. So this is the overall structural activity relationships of the catechol amines. If you overview the structural activity relationships for alpha and beta adrenergic receptor agonist, the parent structure of many of these sympathomimetic drugs having the beta phenylethylamine analogs. The ethylamine side chain influences not only the mechanism of sympathomimetic actions but also the receptor selectivity of the drugs. For direct-acting sympathomimetic amines, maximal activity is seen when the beta-phenylethylamine derivatives containing hydroxyl groups at the meta and para position of the aromatic ends. And the correct stereochemical configuration of the ethylamine portion of the molecule is present. Such structural features are seen in the prototypical direct-acting compounds like norepinephrine, epinephrine, and isoprotone. The direct-acting agents, let's see the different structures of the different compound. Direct-acting agent epinephrine, dopamine, noradrenaline, clonidine, isoprotonol. Then dobutamine, terbutaline, salbutamol. So these are the direct-acting agents. The indirect-acting agents, hydroxyamphetamines, pseudoephedrine, then propylhexidine. These are not directly acting on the receptors, but they are increasing the level of the epinephrine and norepinephrine at the synaptic clip. Well, there are some agents which show the mixed mechanism, that is ephedrine and metforminol. They are directly as well as indirectly. So the next drug is amphetamine, that is a non-catechol, good oral bioavailability. This CNS stimulant more so than the ephedrine. The peripheral actions mainly through the release of the catecholamines from the nerve terminals. So this is how the amphetamine, which act as an indirect agonist. Ephedrine is produced by the various plants like mahu. Non-catechol with the good oral bioavailability, long-acting, releases the catecholamines from the nerve terminals. Some direct stimulation of the alpha and beta receptors. It penetrates brain to produce the CNS stimulation. Traditionally, it is useful as a asthma remedy. Tyramine releases the noradrenaline from the nerve terminals, and it is found in the fermented foods like the cheese. Normally destroyed by the MAOs in the gut wall and may produce the hypertensive crisis if it is given the patients taking MAO inhibitors. Cocaine, it blocks the noradrenaline reuptakes into the nerve terminals, blocks most biogenic amine transporters. It rapidly enters the CNS like amphetamine. It is shorter acting and more intense than the amphetamine. Most CNS effects not adrenergic, like 5-dopamines. It is smoked, snorted, and injected for the rapid onset of actions. It is useful as a peripheral sympathomimetic effects. It will shows acute hypertension and may causes heart failure and death. This is a close-up of the adrenergic at the adrenergic terminals. At the last, uses of the sympathomimetics. Most of these sympathomimetics are useful in the hypotension, shocks, hemostasis, nasal decongestion, acute heart failure, bronchial asthma, anaphylaxis, midriasis, premature labor, weight reduction, etc. So this is about the structural activity relationships of the different catecholamines or phenylethanolamine analogs and their uses along with the structures. Thank you very much.